Hi. Today's video is going to be brought to you by a free book because I'm thinking that you might need a little escapism right now. Before your famous prequel, I'll tell you how you can get it for free at the end of the video. But until then, so something happened that I thought I should talk about, which was the election of Donald J. Trump as President of the United States. And I thought it would be important to ask the question, is there a reason for bisexuals to fear Donald Trump? Quick answer to that question is no. Actually, no. The long answer is, you know what? There's a lot of things wrong with Donald Trump. Yes, he might be exceptionally racist. Yes, he might be exceptionally misogynistic, meaning that he doesn't view women as complete equals, as real, complete human beings sort of thing. He only views them as through his own view of how he should view women. Yes, he's xenophobic, meaning he's scared of Muslims, scared of black people, scared of Latinos. Yes, he can only see the world through the lens of his own, what he gains from his own kind of perspective. And yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with Donald Trump. But the odd thing is, I've gone looking for everything that he said about, let's say, bisexuals, they say about gay people or lesbians or anything like that. And I couldn't find anything. And this is not a man who has, who's shy about expressing his opinions. Which makes me think that he does not have real problems with bisexuals. Now, his running mate, yeah, let's hope nothing happens to Donald Trump if you're bisexual, because that man will set back society by 2 steps very quickly. But Donald Trump himself has never given an indication that he would be horrible for bisexuals. And then you might say, oh, what about healthcare? What about healthcare? Well, the thing is that Donald Trump supported Hillary Care back in the 90s. And then he kind of gave support for a kind of a socialist sort of system, almost like a one-payer sort of system. He gave his support for something along those lines. And he never said anything bad about Romney Care that Mitt Romney enacted in his state. The big problem seems to be with Obamacare that, it's Obamacare. So there's probably a good chance that he might do what he said he was going to do, which is, repeal Obamacare, rebrand it Trump Care, fix it, because, yeah, there's actually things wrong with it. Everyone knows that. Obama knows it. Hillary knew it. Everyone knows it. So he'll make those changes and then rebrand it Trump Care. So it might end up being very similar to what it is right now, but working better. Maybe. But we don't know. We don't know yet. So can I just say that, it'll be bad for bisexuals in healthcare? I don't know. Not yet. No reason to be fearful yet. Everything he said over the years says that he will be supportive of healthcare in some way. So no, I don't think that Trump will be bad if you are a white male bisexual. Now, if you're not a white male bisexual, things might be a little different, but not because of bisexual, because of everything else about you. Of course, we all know it won't be great. It may not be great if you're a woman, but we know for sure that he has a real problem with black people. We're not just talking about the stuff he says during the election. You go back from when he was in his 20s, and then when he was in his 30s and his 50s, and even the stuff that he did during his during this election period. He has a real problem with black people. He does. But a lot of people have problems with black people. A lot of presidents have had problems with black people. For example, there's a president by the name of Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon is very famous because he was impeached and thrown out of office. However, he also recorded everything that happened in the Oval Office during his time. And, you listen to the tapes now and you can hear him say things about black people that are just like, it'll curl your hair. It's horrible. The man was a super racist. Just a super racist. Black people and Jews specifically, and I'm sure a lot of other people, but for sure black people and Jews, just horrible. So this super racist Richard Nixon, when he was vice president, voted in a way that would make it harder for people to suppress the black vote in the South. So this super racist voted as vice president to ensure that it was easier for black people in the South to vote. And that was against Kennedy. Kennedy actually voted in a way to make it harder for black people to vote. and then Nixon voted to make it easier. So this super racist did that. And on top of that, when he was president, he forced everyone who got a federal contract to come up with to develop some form of fair affirmative action program. This is a guy who was super racist. This is the guy at the same time he was forcing people with federal contracts to do this, was saying things that will curl your hair. So it's not impossible for racists, like openly racist people, to actually enact things that are beneficial for the people they're racist against. So do we know that he's going to be, we know he's racist, but do we know he's going to be horrible for black people? We don't. We don't know if he's going to be horrible for healthcare. We do not. And honestly, I believe that him becoming president is a form of progress in the United States. And this is going to sound weird, but stick with me here. Let's go back in time and put this into a historical perspective. Back in 1865, the Civil War, which was the war between the North and the South in order to free the slaves, ended. The South lost, and there was a reaction to that in the South. There was a formation of a group called the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan was there to conserve or keep America American, which was white. And they stuck their heads up, and society didn't like it. They developed over time period, and society didn't like it, and then they, eventually lopped off their heads. So that movement to like try and get people back to slavery and try and get people back to that time period before 1965, it was ended. And then there was the 1915 Ku Klux Klan, which came about, that re-rose from the dead because of European immigrants coming to the United States. And then they kind of came back saying, no, let's keep America American. So that means we're against black people, we're against Jews, we're against Catholics, we're against Europeans. So once again, they stuck their heads up and they started doing all these vile things and horrible things. And society once again put pressure on them. With their heads stuck above the crowd, society came and lopped off their heads. Same thing in the 60s when the civil rights movement came about. The Ku Klux Klan stuck up their head again. And once again, society lopped off their heads, and causing the Ku Klux Klan to now be like a group of 5,000 people of a group of hundreds of millions of people in the United States. So this is how society works. So why do I mention those previous stories? Because Donald Trump is a reaction. He's a reaction to Obama, the first black president. And just like after the Civil Rights Movement, just like after the Civil War, this is a moment of society progressing, and then the reaction of the racist people who not necessarily want black people to die like they did back in the 1800s and back during the Civil War, but more they want to keep America white. And what Donald Trump did, he's like when you fumigate your home, all the roaches come out of the darkness and out of the angles, and they're like, oh, wait, we got to get out of here because it's starting to smoke up. Yeah, we don't have to be shy anymore. We can come out and be in public. That's what Donald Trump did. He gave everyone the right to express their racist views, their misogynistic views, their anti-Semitic views, and be who they truly are. And because they have done that, they have allowed the rest of society to see who they are. It's easy now because they voted for Donald Trump. They have stuck their heads up, and now society will go through the process like it always does and lops off all of their racist heads. This is the way it works. This is the way progress has worked. And if you say to me down in the comment section something like that, hey, I voted for Donald Trump and I'm not a racist, I will just know this is going to be my reply. You can't give money to and support someone who is demonstrating themselves to be a racist so that they could enact their racist agenda and not be a racist. That's impossible. That's not the way the world works. If you have given money to someone who is known to be racist so they can enact a racist agenda, guess what? You're amongst those people. But it's good. You've stuck your head up, and now we can figure out how to deal with it. And you know what? Honestly, this is almost better. I'm from another country, not the United States. I just became a citizen and voted in this election, actually. But I'm from the country called the Bahamas, and it, until 1973, was a British colony. But for like 100 and something years, 85% of the population was black. But up until 1973, whites had all the power. And even going into like the 80s and 90s, whites still owned all the large businesses. They owned most of the land and stuff like that. So growing up as a child, you knew who was racist. Like you knew that, you know, the person who owned that company was racist. The person who owned that building was racist. You just knew it. First of all, you go into the companies, and even though the population is 85% black, like there'd be no black people working there. So, you know, obviously, right? But the thing is that you compare that to the way things are in the United States, whereas like you have all these racists around, you don't know it. Like you just don't know it. Like a person will smile in your face and then do things to hamper you when you turn your back. That creates a lot more paranoia than when you know exactly who you're dealing with. Honestly, I am grateful that I grew up, if I had to grow up in a racist society, I grew up in a racist society where all the racists were known. So now we're living in a society in America where all the racists are known. And it's going to be a lot easier to progress this way. So will Donald Trump be bad for bisexuals? No, not if you're white, not if you're male. And there's no even sure way to tell it'd be bad if you're not white. And honestly, we as Americans, as a global society, we do have to give them a chance. We honestly do. Like, things have been really bad for really long. And someone has to make the first step here. Someone has to say, okay, let's try and work together. Let's see if we have common ground. And if it's not going to be the Democrats, it certainly ain't going to be the Republicans, because as we know, they just elected a really racist person as president. So one has to set an example. And for one, I'm going to be doing whatever I can to create a more harmonious society, even with a racist in the White House. And hell, you know, that just means we have to work harder. We have to be more visible. We have to keep ensuring that society is moving in the right direction. And it will. It absolutely will. This is just a bump in the road. In America, while we elected Donald Trump as the president, Oregon elected the first openly bisexual governor. The first openly bisexual governor, openly bisexual, openly gay, openly lesbian, anything. The first one elected was this year, Kate Brown. So even with that happening in the White House, American society is progressing. And at most, he's going to be there for 8 years, maybe just 4. And this will be a learning time. This will actually be a positive thing in the long run. We just have to make sure there are no nuclear wars until that happens. That's all. And I think we might be able to avoid that. So yes, that is my feeling. How do you feel about Donald Trump becoming president? How do you think it's going to affect bisexuals? Please let me know in the comment section below. And like I said, if you like a little bit of escapism, you can check out my Bisexual Romance Before He Was Famous prequel. A link to it will be in the description below. And honestly, guys and ladies, just take a breath. Really. Everyone was in arms when George W. Bush became president. And yes, we had 2 wars. And yes, we had the worst recession since the Great Depression. But we survived it. And America is strong, and we will survive this. And we're going to come out of it even better than we went into it. So on that positive note, if you like the video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. I do many videos on bisexual topic, but I don't do them on a regular basis, but I do them frequently. So if you want to know when a new video comes up, there's a little bell next to the subscription button. You have to click on that little bell, and it'll let you know when a new video comes out. Until my next video, stay cooler, my bisexual friend. Stay cooler, and don't forget to check out Before He Was Famous prequel.